In 2022, 32 teams played in the World Cup. In 2026, that number jumps to 48. That's not a small adjustment. It's the single biggest expansion in the tournament's history, a 50% increase, all at once. For comparison, the last time the World Cup got bigger was 1998, when it grew from 24 to 32 teams. FIFA waited 28 years and then added 16 nations in one move. 16 countries that would have been watching from home are now playing on the biggest stage in sports. And the format change that comes with it is so unusual that most fans, even longtime ones, don't fully understand how it works yet. Here's everything that changed, why it changed, and what it means for the tournament you're about to watch. On January 10, 2017, the FIFA Council voted unanimously to expand the World Cup from 32 to 48 teams. The man who pushed it through was Gianni Infantino, elected FIFA president less than a year earlier after the organization's corruption scandal forced his predecessor out. FIFA's official explanation was about opportunity, giving more nations around the world a chance to experience football's biggest stage. And there's truth in that. Africa's guaranteed slots increased from 5 to 9, Asia went from 4.5 to 8, Oceania secured a direct qualification spot for the first time in history, no longer forced into a playoff against a team from another continent just for a chance to qualify. For supporters in countries like Jordan, Cape Verde, or Uzbekistan, this wasn't an abstract debate about competitive balance. It was the difference between watching the World Cup and playing in it. But the honest answer to why the expansion happened is more complicated than opportunity alone. It was about money, and FIFA has never pretended otherwise. More teams means more matches. More matches means more broadcast windows, more sponsorship slots, more ticket sales. The 2026 tournament is projected to generate roughly 40% more total revenue than Qatar 2022, largely through expanded broadcast rights. FIFA's total revenue for the 4-year cycle leading into this World Cup is projected at nearly $13 billion. There was also a political dimension. FIFA's presidency is decided by votes from 211 member associations, and most of those associations are not in Europe or South America, the traditional powers of the sport. Expansion meant more countries had a realistic path to qualification, and more countries with a reason to support the man who gave them that path. Now here's where it gets technical, because getting from 32 teams to 48 wasn't as simple as just adding more groups. FIFA's first proposal was 16 groups of 3 teams each, with the top 2 from every group advancing. It sounded clean. It had a serious problem. In a 3-team group, the final match is always unbalanced. 2 teams play each other after already knowing the result of the third team's earlier game. That creates an obvious risk of collusion. 2 teams could agree to a result that sends them both through at the expense of the third. FIFA even discussed using penalty shootouts to prevent this. It still didn't fully solve the problem. So, FIFA changed course. The final format settled on 12 groups of 4 teams, the same structure fans already know from previous tournaments. The top 2 from each group advance, plus the 8 best third-place teams. That's 32 teams moving into the knockout stage, which creates a stage that didn't exist before, the round of 32. In the old 32-team format, the tournament went straight from the group stage into the round of 16. Now there's an entire extra knockout round before that, doubling the number of teams still alive heading into the playoff bracket. The result? 104 total matches, compared to 64 in 2022. That's a 47% increase in games. The tournament itself now runs 39 days from the opening match to the final, 10 days longer than Qatar 2022. So what does this actually change for the team that wins it? In the old format, a champion played 7 matches total, 3 in the group stage, then 4 knockout rounds. In 2026, the champion will play 8 matches, the same 3 group games, but now 5 knockout rounds instead of 4. Round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal, final. That extra match has become one of the most contested issues in modern football. FIFPro, the Global Players Union, has publicly described the 2026 calendar as unsustainable, pointing out that top players will have already played 50 to 60 club matches in the season before the tournament even begins. Players like Thibaut Courtois and Rodri have spoken publicly about the physical toll. The debate isn't about whether expansion is exciting, it's about whether the human bodies playing it can handle the accumulated workload. There's also a quality argument. Critics point to expanded tournaments in the past, like Euro 2016 when UEFA went to 24 teams, and argue that when more than half the field advances out of the group stage, weaker teams get rewarded for survival rather than performance. The same concern exists here. With 2 of every 4 teams advancing from each group, the incentive to take risks in the final group game decreases. The counter-argument is the one FIFA leans on hardest. More teams means more underdog stories. Morocco's run to the semifinals in 2022 happened inside a 32-team format. Expand the field, and the odds of another nation no one expected doing something remarkable go up, not down.
Whatever side of that debate you land on, one thing is certain. This version of the World Cup will never be repeated in exactly this shape. FIFA is already discussing a 64-team format for the 2030 tournament's Centennial Edition, which would be hosted across 6 countries on 3 continents. The 48-team World Cup you're about to watch this summer is, in a sense, a one-time experiment, the biggest expansion in tournament history, tested live in front of the largest television audience the sport has ever had. 45 nations earned their place through qualifying, 3 got in by hosting. All 48 are about to find out whether bigger really does mean better.